Jay, we're back again. How you doing, man? Good
Not too bad. How are you?
sir. I'm pretty good. Pretty good. Today I wanted to talk about sales. The environment is totally different, man, than it used to be, and I've got a lot of friends in the industry that are struggling with sales, and maybe you can help define what's going on because I know the boomer market. We're millennials think completely differently than boomers do,
hmm
and they react to the sales process completely differently. So, what are your thoughts on it? What's going on?
Well, I mean, a couple of things. So, first of all, we need to like in terms of how sales and marketing and everything works. Nothing's really changed. What's changed is speed. Is definitely becoming a factor. So that
Hmm.
the amount of time that it requires, or the amount of time that you have to respond, has changed dramatically. And I attribute most of this to like Amazon and like people are geared up for instant gratification.
Yeah.
So we have to be very, very fast to respond to our leads. Okay, if you let them go 1, 2, 3 days, the chances are somebody's already gone and made the impression that you want to make in order to win that business, right? So here's an interesting statistic that that we have, that about 78% of customers choose to go with the contractor who responds. Pretty staggering, right? So
That is
whenever I
huge.
hear somebody telling me they have, a problem with sales, in the back of my mind, I'm going, okay. The first question I ask is like, how quickly are we responding to our leads? What's your process? What's your procedure? Right? Like, how quickly do we follow up? How quickly do we call? Oh, I don't call. It, what? Well, no, I don't call. I send them an email. I'm like, okay, well, that might have worked in 1955. Actually, no email back then, but those kind of tactics and strategies don't work. And here's why. Like, think about it this way. Um, when we look at how different the market is from even 5 years ago. Okay, what's the big thing that's changed? What do you think the big thing is that's changed in our markets and our behavior in general?
Well, look, I mean, I could just speak for myself, but I've been doing a lot of purchasing off of Amazon. I like to do my
hmm
research ahead of time. I don't like being pestered by salespeople trying to go through their whole closing process. I
Ah,
just don't
right.
like the process.
hmm Nobody likes to be sold to,
Just want to
right?
be left alone to make my
Yeah,
decision.
that's right. So, I mean, again, we have a very small window of time when someone's open to actually, getting a quote, getting the information. And what I think that contractors make the biggest mistake doing is focusing too much on the 5% and calling the rest tire kickers. I hear it all the time,
Yeah,
right?
I hear
So
that
like,
too. Yeah.
like, oh, I can't get nothing but tire kickers, or expecting that when you buy leads off the internet, that all of them are going to be qualified. All of them are like, they're supposed to be ready to go and buy from you now. And you can go in with a lack of sales ability and just win. Like, why can't I just continue? It doesn't work like that. There is a big gap. And this is where companies that are in a growth mindset excel, and where companies that barely survive, kind of live. Is that, you hear it over and over again. Is like, well, they gave me junk leads. I got these. No, 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 no. If we went back and really tracked it, I bet you don't follow up frequently enough. I bet you don't continue to follow up until the lead's actually dead. I bet you don't put enough effort into, actually making contact with people, and then just make assumptions, right? So here's another, interesting thing. In my own business, on average, it's 13 touch points before we can get quotes sometimes.
Wow, that's
13
a lot.
times. And you would think that that's like harassing somebody, but it's not. And it's the reason why is people are busy, and maybe they're not thinking about it right now. Maybe they're not. If you're not persistent in your follow up to, especially in the initial inquiry, the initial lead intake, you're toast. And again, as technology grows, it's going to become more commonplace. And I hear it all the time where guys are like, I can't do that. I wouldn't do that to customers. I wouldn't. Okay, good. I'll eat your breakfast then. No
That's
problem.
interesting.
I'll come.
I'll tell you
Just
for
leave your
myself.
business door open for me because it makes it easy for me.
Yeah, that's
Right?
that's fair. But even for myself, like I don't mind being pestered as long as it's subtle, right? Like it's not
Mhm.
a big deal. But by the time I do get you on the phone, or you do get me on the phone, I want to
Yep.
make a deal. Like I'm
Right.
at the point, I've
Exactly.
already made my decision. If you're talking to me, man, close the deal.
So and again, when I'm saying following up, I'm not saying, hey, do you got that business? Hey, do you got that business? Hey, do you got that? No, no, no. You can follow up with value. You can follow up knowing that they're in the research mode and by giving them information that helps them to make that decision. That puts you in the trusted source, the trusted resource. And again, you're trying to build yourself up to that moment when they are ready to actually buy now, and we get them all the time. I mean, again, we don't look at our pipeline as being a instant turnaround in 1 week. No, only about 5% of clients that come through our pipeline are ready to actively buy now. The rest are research mode. And again, I keep saying it kind of over and over again. I actually market there because it's cheaper and it gives you a better opportunity to actually build a relationship with someone before you go to make the sale. So it makes closing a lot easier because they trust you already. They've taken in your information, they've taken your advice, they've downloaded your resource. Or I mean, we have a buyer's package that we send out that has information and checklists and stuff that, like, how to properly select a roofing contractor. Simple, right? But again, I'm catching people knowing that I have to be patient because, again, they may not be ready to buy now. They tell us all the time, hey, I'm not ready to buy for 12 months. Perfect. I'll keep in touch with you. And that's what, like, the power of your CRM and your systems allow you to do is you're not going to forget that. In fact, the system will automatically follow up with them. And again, you're in the right place at the right time. You do that over a broad number of leads, and you know what? You will never have a dry pipeline.
Touch on that cheaper thing. I want to hear more about that because you
Yeah.
said that in the research phase it's cheaper.
Yeah, so every algorithm that's out there, if you're buying ads, okay, every algorithm can figure out what stage somebody's in. Okay,
Yeah,
so like if you want to produce a lead from, let's say, Google, all right, that's known to be high intent. People are going there like actively ready to buy. Like
yeah, yeah.
you're gonna pay an enormous amount more than Facebook, right? Like double. All right, but the intent is there. Now, if we were to change the campaign up, where we're offering a resource out front, all right, I call it a lead magnet, and it works for me. It works for a number of other businesses where it's a major purchase. Metal roof is not something everybody just wakes up one day and is like, hey, I want to spend 50, 60 grand on my roof. Right? They gradually kind of warm up to it after getting some prices. And some of them might shop for years. Like, again, it's the behavior of my clients. Okay.
Interesting.
And what we try to do is by giving them a free resource with, right off the bat, our buyer's package. Hey, are you interested in a metal roof? Maybe they're not. Maybe they're going to go to asphalt, whatever. But
Yeah.
I'm able to buy those leads for 10, $15 versus, $100 for somebody that still may be comparing me to three other people. He's getting three names to get three quotes from. All right, where this person is passive. And again, it gives me that opportunity to warm up. Now, do I need to focus on that 5% as well? Yes, absolutely. I run a mixture of both. All right. But I'm always building my contact list because most people don't recognize how much value is locked in. And I'll give you a really good example of this. We ran a campaign last year back to the list of people that we had lost the roofs to. So they've gone with another metal roofing contractor. Okay. And when we did that, we recognized two things. Number one is that most customers were dissatisfied when their contractor left for getting a metal roof done. And the reason why is because they weren't sold proper snow guards. And most of the time, the roofer wouldn't do the gutter replacement or the soffit fascia. There was always other things that they wanted to get done that they didn't get done at the time. So we thought it'd be interesting. And, we have 3-4 years of lost jobs, tens of millions of dollars in lost projects. And we went back and we offered snow guards and we offered gutters and we offered insulation. That campaign ran from October 15th to November 20th, I think, or November 30th, somewhere in there. And we did 1.5 million in revenue.
Dude, these were leads that were just buried in your pipeline that just
Yeah. So
got
no,
very stolen.
they were purely lost jobs. Purely
Holy
lost.
shit.
They told us they're going with someone else. No problem. We didn't We didn't not make friends with them. We still gave them a quote. They still appreciated our information. They still trusted us. Okay. But maybe the price wasn't right. Maybe there were other decisions and factors into it. And this is what I mean about generating a lead. Like a lead to me is lifetime value. All right. Where when contractors are looking at a lead, they're not looking at it at lifetime value. All right. In a lot of cases, if you were to look at it being like, okay, maybe I didn't win this job, but what else do I have to offer that I can re-offer to this person at a different time? All right. Another great example is 40% of our leads in our pipeline come from people I never did business with. How's that? So think about that.
Interesting.
And again, you want to play statistics here. Like all I did was incentivize my referral. That's all I did. I offered them an incentive to refer me to their friends. Okay. And by doing that, and again, maintaining a good sales process, maintaining a good sales procedure, not treating everyone like they're tire kickers, right? Like, genuinely giving value out to someone that maybe is not going to buy from you. They might tell you they're not going to buy from you. Your objective is still to help them solve their problem, right?
That's interesting.
And if you want to lead with value and you want to be a good member of the community and you want to be a good representative for your market in your industry, then change your marketing up to do that, right? Lead with value. Like give them the information. Tell them what they need to know. Like, again, what traps are there out there? What do they want to watch out for? Help them make a decision. That's what they're struggling with. That's the pain that you're trying to solve, right? If you can do that, you've made friends with them. All right. And ultimately that leaves the door open for another opportunity. I can't tell you how many times, we got roofs after maybe we didn't do business with them the first time they got their roof done. The second time comes around where they've maybe moved or bought a new house and like now they're in contact with good. So again, these are relationships. As long as you stay active and you continue to stay in touch, tastefully, of course, right? Then people are going to remember you. And not only, like, again, if you want to scale a business, how else do you do it? Right? You've got all these contacts, all this, all these opportunities. And the craziest one is when they go back and you look at all the past customers that you have that, you had business with and you just never contact them again. What a waste. What a loss.
That's a good point. That's a
Right?
good point. But then the question, comes, most contractors don't have these systems in place. They're
That's
kind
right.
of doing it on their own. Like, how do I follow up with someone 13 times? How do I, keep the costs down on the sales process?
Right. Well,
I
and
know you have the
that's
answer
just
to
it.
that.
Yeah. Well, of course we have the solution for that. And again, it's, it's something that works for myself and a few hundred other contractors that are out there using the same systems. And really, now's the time, if ever there were a time, to really get over that fear of technology, if that's the case, because I feel like that's a lot of what goes into it, fear of the not known. Because really, like, again, it's not going to take much longer before guys are catching on to these things. And I'm seeing, the amount of impact it can have, when we go in and like the way we're using it, like, it's just, it's an unfair advantage. And
Yeah.
again, it's so underutilized and it's so readily available now. It's, gone are the times where you'd have to have 10 apps to do one thing, right? Like now you can have one that does all of it, and you can have a team behind that helps to support you and build that with you. Community, really, where we're sharing these strategies, we're making these things happen, and we're doing them for real. Like, a big difference between a marketing company that's maybe testing something on you or had something work in another market. That's, again, I've been through those things, and they're great ideas, but like, prove it, right? Show me your stats,
Yeah, that's true.
show me the reality, right? Like, and again, show me how it's practical. That's the other side of it, right? A lot of times when we come up and we maybe get involved with or around an agency that's working with one of our clients, we're always kind of taken back by the approach. They make everything sound too good to be true, right? And I want to make sure that I don't go that far and saying, oh yeah, we'll get you 30 leads guaranteed, blah blah blah. Like, none of that stuff's true, right?
Well,
Like,
no, but it shows in the results. But like, kind of
right,
going back to it, I think even myself as a contractor, it's like, how the hell am I supposed to be able to afford a system like this? Like the costs
How
associated with
can
it.
you not? Here's the other way. You can't afford not to have one. Let me
Well,
put it to you like that.
not when you tell me that you're picking up, sales just dropped off that were just sitting there and
Right,
unconsidered, right?
right.
With very little effort, your
And
system's doing it
again,
on its own.
here's the other thing. If you had to do it yourself, okay, if you were to manually just call all your customers back, like text
Yeah.
them, email them, the time would be astronomical. Like, I'm not gonna bullshit. Like we had 63,000 messages go out in the month of June out of our system.
Yeah,
63,000.
that's impossible.
Right.
Any other way, that's impossible.
Right. So tell me, how do I get 40% of it? Because I have a list. Because I have contacts that I've made. I've built, reciprocity with that appreciate what it is that we're doing. And again, we stayed in touch. We haven't been annoying. We haven't been a nuisance. We are just there, right? And when the time is right, and when you remind your customers, that's all it is. Anybody here can open up their inbox right now and tell me how many people consistently email you that you never open the emails, maybe once in a while, but you just let them exist there. How
Yeah, you
many?
don't hit the unsubscribe button because maybe
Right.
one day I might need this. So
Right.
you let it.
And
Yeah.
and again, it's all about the copy and the way that you're approaching it, right? So again, leading with value is like, informing them of community events. Simple, right? Taking your social media content and sharing it with them via email. That's what I mean by keeping in touch.
That's
I'm not
cool.
talking
Got
about
it.
I'm not talking about hounding them for more work and more referrals. No, no, no. These are things that are helpful for them. And that's truly where I think we need to get back to as marketers, and as contractors, is that I think, a lot of us, and I hear this from our group all the time too, how they want to be involved in the community, and like we all know the value of, like, locally being involved in your community, and showing your worth, showing your value, showing your business values, right? What
Without
better
being
place to
salesy
do that?
about it. Yeah, it's
There's
huge.
no sales. There's no
Yeah,
sales intent. If it comes, it comes, right? But again, all it is a short CTA. By the way, if you know anybody that could use our service here, but you're leading with that value. You're leading with informing them of upcoming events. You're leading with maintenance for their roofs. You're leading with other things they may need to know around the home. Hey, here's the other thing. We have a couple of guys that we refer each other. Hey, if you need a plumber, if you need this, if you need that, like,
that's a cool
that's
idea.
totally,
Yeah.
like, again, those are the kind of things that really do measure when you're in the world of results, because an email to send is free, right? And everybody needs content. So if you're smart about it, all right, you're gonna cross promote with another, companies that you would support. They're gonna do the same for you. Between all of you, how many customers do you have that could use those home services? How many? Right? And now you've opened up a brand new listing. We're not talking about buying ads at $50 a pop. When you're buying an ad or buying a lead story, and let's say on the low side it's 25. That's $25 for a contact. There's no guarantees to that,
Yeah. Yeah. What's wild to
but
me, I mean,
but then you can pick up a couple thousand from somebody else's list, like,
you're right. You're
you
right.
know,
What's wild to me is, I mean, it's steel roofing. I mean, when's the next time you're going to see a customer? What's the lifetime? What's the lifetime
right?
of a steel roof? You wouldn't even think to go back that there would be that much value there. But more
A huge,
importantly, these customers that you didn't get can potentially pay for the infrastructure that you would be installing into
right.
your
Right.
business.
Well, and again, is it doing you any harm is what you need to ask. Like, emailing back customers that you've done business with in the past, or
No,
people that didn't go with you, is that doing you any damage at all? No. Worst that
no.
can
And I
happen is
think
they unsubscribe.
no, exactly. And I think importantly, they're building a relationship with your brand,
Right.
right? And not with
Totally.
you,
That's right.
which is really, really cool. That if you're
Right.
touching them 13 times, it's your
Yeah.
business that's touching them, not you.
And we make we like, I've known for a long time, like, the subject lines, for example, are like, most people just read the subject line and that's it. So,
Mhm.
you know, does anybody like an uptight, like, overly professional email? Have
Not
you
at all.
gotten those? Like, I
Yeah.
I don't.
No.
I know if I'm the only way I'm opening the email is if it has a subject line that grabs my attention, right? And then if the email body can carry me for 2 or 3 sentences by being like human, right? By being, funny, witty, like all these things that I think that we forget about as business owners. Like people are people still. You're still in the people to people business,
Dude, I
right?
never really thought about the value of the subject line
Yeah, no,
until you
it's
said
it's
that.
huge. And again, do you have to write these? No, God, if you're not into that, and like again, contractors just roll their eyes, like I'm not doing that. No, exactly, but this is what
Yeah.
you do to hire people to do that, like that, know what they're doing, that set these systems up for you. Why reinvent the wheel, right? Same thing with your social media content. Now people are coming around going, yeah, I should post some social media content. Great, that's going out and nobody's seeing it, but yet you have the contacts for your social media, and vice versa. If you want people to join your social media, use your email list, use your contacts. I mean, we took a list, and I'll wrap up with this. We took a list out of somebody's QuickBooks account, and this thing has customers from 20 years ago on it, right? Like literally. And we ran just a referral review and a campaign for them, just an
Mhm.
email campaign, and they landed like 3 or 4 customers out of it, like right away. Just like long time, we haven't spoken in a long time. Just letting them know they still exist, and boom, just right time, right place. Now, again, as we consistently do that, like imagine squeezing 3 or 4% more free leads out. What would that mean for your business?
Again, it helps pay for
It's no
this
brainer, right?
system.
No
It's
brainer.
absolutely a no-brainer. It's right there.
Right. Right.
It's sitting there, which is crazy because you wonder how do these big companies get big? And
That's how they do it.
finally we have access to these
Right.
this edge, and they're just gonna
Right.
have to move over and hand off some of the market share
Right.
because
Absolutely.
here we
Well,
are.
and again, contractors get smarter and smarter, and again, they'll realize that, hey, listen, if you want to see how the big guys are doing it, like go subscribe to their email list and see what happens, right? And all of this can be systemized. All of this doesn't have to add more to your time. If you're not a copywriter, don't write copy. Don't write emails. Like probably won't it won't have the impact that you want. Like there's still work to be done in it. But ultimately, again, when you have a system that does these small things, they lead to such huge, huge differences at the end of the day. And again, 1 or 2% year over year over year, like guys, like it's not rocket science. And if you're constantly having to survive off of fresh new leads, you've got a problem and you've got to solve it. Is that, again, a business should be able to consistently bring in business, all right, from multiple sources. If you at And again, this is my rule of thumb, I never put all my eggs in one basket. Between my marketing, I never put more than 20% of something into, like, let's say ads, like let's say Google. I'm not going to put 100% of my budget into Google, because Google can change in a drop, and all of a sudden it's not profitable. Certain times of the year it doesn't work. Like you have to explore all of them, but the big one that binds them all together is, once you've got the contact, how do you stay in touch? Simple as that,
Yeah.
right?
You know what? A really cool thought kind of came to my head, and if any of you have been through the Contractor AI pipeline, and by the
Hmm.
time you've got to sales, by the time you got somebody on the phone, you have just experienced as a customer what the product is going to be.